As Obi-Wan Kenobi once said, hello there, and welcome to ForceCenter Presents Figure Fights, the show where we ask which Star Wars character would win in a fight, but not the actual character, a specific action figure of that character. I'm Joseph Scrimshaw.
I'm Ken Knapsack.
And I'm Jennifer Landa.
And I am very excited to be here. I hope you both are too. This matchup is an extra weird one. Get deeper into figure fights, the weirder we're going to get.
Excellent.
Yeah, I love where we started. Some Luke Vader, some classic action. We got Ewoks, we got Chancellors. I wanted to get weird and weirder.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think this one is really going to do that for you, Ken. Very excited about this. Our matchup today, that Jennifer does not know who these figures are, our matchup is Dark Side Rey versus Hermi Odle.
Oh no! What is?
We could do a 2-hour show just looking at Hermi Odle. So how are we going to keep this to time? I don't know.
Oh my gosh!
It might be the best figure ever made across any line in any franchise.
Oh.
Truly beautiful, truly bizarre. Let's get right into talking about our feelings. I'm enjoying simply the noises of feelings, but let's turn noises into words if at all possible. Jennifer, I'd love to start with you and your feelings on these characters. We'll hold off on the Hermi Odle shock. Let's talk about Dark Rey. Do you own this figure? Do you want to own this figure?
I want to own this figure. I did not know that this figure existed.
Wow.
How did I not know this? It is beautiful. It's so cool. I must add it to my collection. I'm going to have to purchase it after this show. Wow. Look at that. I mean, I want to hold it. I want to see it up close to inspect. I can't wait to hear the stats.
That's like my inner monologue every time I walk down the toy aisle. I want to look at it closer. I want to hold it.
Stats. What are the stats?
Feel the weight of it in my hand.
Feel the weight of Dark Side Rey in my hand. Yeah, it's hard to keep up with all the releases. They get announced. They get announced way ahead often of when they come out. And then sometimes they're an exclusive. Sometimes you see them on the store shelf. Sometimes you don't. Ken, where do you go with Dark Side Rey? Is she a part of your collection?
She is not. I absolutely wouldn't mind this. I can't think of this. Look at this character and not think of our friend Molly Damon, who's all about Dark Side Rey and probably owns 6 of these and just has a nice lighting, dark lighting on them. Just stares at them, every day. I love it because this figure has a little bit of that Star Wars tradition that we all love. Of, the background figures, that brief moment, especially, Kenner, but later on in the lines where they're like, what else are we going to make? It's Tarkin looking to his left. And I love that they knew that Dark Side Rey was going to be a character that people want, even if she's only in it for a few seconds.
Yeah, such a great design. I remember caused such a stir when there was a flash of Dark Side Rey in the trailer, and I think some people thought that's going to be half the movie, and it is this great scene, but a short one. I do not personally own Dark Side Rey, but I've literally done this at the store. Simply out of trying to contain my collection, particularly when it comes to Black Series. But after we're spending time on it, after hearing Jennifer's wonderful monologue, I want to look at her, I want to hold her. I think I want to too, so I think I'll have to pick up Black Series Dark Side Rey very soon. Which lets us move on to one of the characters, kind of characters that Ken was describing. Make every possible background weirdo. Let's talk about Hermi Odle. Jennifer, have you ever owned Hermi Odle? Do you want to? Did you know Hermi Odle existed?
I did not know, again, that this figure existed. I feel like my children would be scared if I had this figure in my collection. They just would not know what to do with it. Go ahead.
It's 4 and up, but that should be like 16 and up because that's a nightmare figure.
Yeah, why 4 and up? I'm guessing because the little parts, obviously, but that cape shawl thing, there's a lot of fabric that is going to get lost or chewed on. So it's a dangerous action figure, it turns out, for young children.
It really should be 40 plus, I think. Jennifer, what is your overall, you're such a fan of Jabba's palace. Are you happy that everybody from Jabba's palace, not everybody, but so many back in the day, in kind of particularly like the 2000s, early 2010s, that so many of those figures got made.
I mean, I love it. It would be perfect if I had a Jabba diorama, which I did try, and I would need this for my collection. But I mean, thank you, toy makers, for giving us all of our wildest fantasies and desires come true.
Hermi
I don't know
Odle.
who asked for it, but I appreciate it.
One of my wildest fantasies come true is true. Ken, do you own this figure? Do you want to own this figure?
I think I might have to own this figure now. I love this line. I've always loved the packaging. This figure looks like it rents a studio apartment near the Bog of Eternal Stench in the Labyrinth, or is a cousin of the Vogons and Hitchhikers. And I'm very familiar with Hermi Odle. It's one of those Star Wars characters that you love, but to actually see it up close and I mean, look at this. Look at this figure. That's a detailed figure down to the sloppy tongues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot going on there. So I don't own it, but it's on my radar screen.
Yeah. I am lucky to own this figure. I think I was maybe vaguely aware of him. I don't remember seeing him on a shelf. I think that would have left an impact back on his general release era in 2007. I would have remembered. I think it was when we were doing a series of Star Wars Ranked, where we were going through on the podcast and looking at specific toy lines and saying what of our top this. I became aware that he existed. And then at Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim this past year, as we're recording, I turned around a corner and there he was. And I was like, I have to hold him. I have to look at him. I have to see him. I need to have this character, this action figure, be a part of my family. And I picked him up, and I almost didn't have the physical strength. He is so heavy. He is really? He is so there's nothing. It's not like, he's not a piñata. You can't crack him open and have bugs come out or anything. That is a huge chunk of solid plastic. I can say from personal experience, I'm a proud papa of Hermi Odle.
And can I also say too, Joseph, you are a big believer, and you talk often about the art of the packaging. Mm-hmm. And this package is an art piece. It belongs in a museum, or at least framed on a wall. Just the detailed art in the background, the painting of him, the energy of him kind of sideways in the package, because it's probably how he can only way he can fit in it. But he looks like he's Hermi Odle on the move.
It really is. Yeah, we got this great picture of Hermi Odle kind of straight on, a little bit more of his full body, passport photo there. But yeah, in the package, he looks like he's frozen in motion because his tongue is hanging out. His arms are moving. So it really does look like there was like a freeze frame of him going, yeah. It's so beautiful. I'm excited to spend some quality time talking about this action figure. But let's get into some of the facts, some of the stats. We know our feelings. I can't contain mine about Hermi Odle. But let's talk about some of these stats. These come to us from galacticfigures.com, the great website that collects action figure information. Let's talk about Darkside Rey and her stats. Her toy line is quite recent. Star Wars, the Black Series 6-inch. So she does have a height advantage. Her scale is 6-inch. She was released in 2020. Joint count 17.
Wow.
Font size got smaller for this one.
Right? Look at that. I don't know if I'm going to read all of the joints every time we do a Black Series figure, but since this is the first time, here we go. 1 ball jointed top neck, 1 ball jointed lower neck, 2 ball jointed shoulders, 2 ball jointed elbows, 2 ball jointed wrists, 1 ball jointed upper body, 2 ball jointed hips, 2 swivel thighs, 2 ball jointed knees, 2 ball jointed ankles. Wow. That's a lot of ball jointing. I never thought I'd say the term ball jointed that many times. Accessory details: 2 red lightsabers, which can be attached for 1 double-bladed lightsaber, 2 red blades. So like in the picture, she can have just the hilt. She can have that lightsaber in any combination that Darkside Rey desires. Some more information. Sometimes there are opinions here from galacticfigures.com. We love action figure opinions, but that's the truth. That's where they're coming from. Here's the information. The hinge between the lightsaber hilts allow for the lightsaber hilts to be folded up. The figure can hold both sabers well in the hands. Rey's hood and soft goods cape are permanently attached to the figure and not removable. The plastic skirt doesn't get in the way of posing the figure in action poses. extremely vital to our fighting. The figure looks quite simple in person, but it's a great representation of the character from the blink and you missed it scene in The Rise of Skywalker. The power of Darkseid Rey.
Oh my gosh. The timing.
Real. The haunting of Jen's house from Darkseid Rey.
And one ball-jointed command of the dark side of the Force.
What fell? Oh, was it AT-ST?
Yeah. My kids were playing with it, and
that's hilarious. If Light Side Rey had fallen, I would have been really, really interested and brought in a ghost hunting team.
It's amazing that a toy fell here on Figure Fights. We know that Darkseid Rey beats that Walker.
Ooh, wow. Powerful figure.
So many ball joints. All right, let's talk about the info behind Hermi Odle. Here's Hermi Odle's stats from galacticfigures.com. Toy line, the 30th anniversary collection. If you're not familiar, that is one where they did just go hog wild. They made a lot of weird and interesting figures in the 30th anniversary collection. Scale 3.75, released 2007, joint count 11. Here are the joint details.
Wow.
Swivel mouth.
I mean, come on.
A swivel mouth?
It's hard to even imagine. Swivel neck, 2 ball-jointed shoulders, 2 swivel wrists, swivel waist, 2 swivel hips, 2 ball-jointed ankles. Hey, ball-jointed ankles is impressive, but it's hard to even move past swivel mouth. Accessory details, force pike, and coin.
Oh, coin.
It comes with a collector coin that you can see in the packaging, which we can absolutely use as collectible coin in the fight.
Wow. Okay.
Ooh.
All right. We know our feelings, at least some of them. I'm sure there are more. We know the facts. It is now time. Let's figure fight. We're going to take into account their size, their outfits, their accessories. Who do we feel wins this fight? Can Hermi Odle stand up to all those ball joints? Ken, I'm going to go first to you.
Look, I'm blown away by this figure. I do submit it as the best of all time because someone in an office, in a development room somewhere went, we need to make that mouth swivel. Look at the face. Look, there's the bulk, there's the size, there's the cape, there's the weapon, the force pike you're calling it. Just looks like a super-sized meat cleaver. I think Hermi goes in with a lot of advantages. And that coin. Could he fling it? Could he fling it with his mouth? Could he just hold it with his mouth at an angle where it's some kind of shield? There's a lot at his disposal. The Darkseid Rey's got a lot going on as well, including, I think that's a great sculpt. It really looks like Daisy Ridley angry, so I like it there. But I think it's Darkseid Rey's energy versus Hermi Odle's just presence.
Yeah. This is a tale of versatility. They can both do a lot. So, Jennifer, where do you start out?
I'm really torn because I want Darkseid Rey to win, but having had a Jawa, I think it was a Mandalorian Jawa, the Black Series one, where it had so many joints. And unfortunately, because it had so many joints, it was cool for posing. It did not withstand rough play with my child. It got messed up bad. So that I said, I think
this.
Yeah. I mean, because you can move the feet, right? There's just so many joints, which is really cool for posing, but not for fighting. And that's where I think Hermi Odle has an advantage. Just the sheer size. I mean, you're saying like the weight that alone could crush poor Rey. And that mouth. Mouth is a mystery to me, and I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe that's why it's foreign up, because you could get your finger stuck in it.
You both are saying such amazing things. I agree with you on the detailed Black Series figures, sometimes the detailed vintage figures. Sometimes, like, you can, like, I got a Mandalorian, Din Djarin, like, you can pose him in all the coolest ways, but you kind of can't, I can't at least make my finger just stand up straight. Like his feet are pointing at one another like he's a shy child in a cartoon. So we don't know if Darkseid Rey is going to have to face some of that. Hermi Odle does start with a lot of advantages, and I think I just need to get to the heart of it. It is about that swivel mouth. This is a battle of mouths. I think on Darkseid Rey, her mouth is not open, so we don't see those sharp, mean little golem teeth, right?
Yeah.
So I think Hermi can probably do a lot I mean, he's got that big slab of beef tongue in the way, but he's got a swivel mouth, which means this action figure can truly deeply bite. Yeah. I feel, he goes after that plastic skirt. It might not get in the way of posing, but boy, can Hermi Odle just chomp down on it, clamp down on it, and yank. And now, do we think the Darkseid Rey figure goes down if Hermi Odle's swivel mouth clamps on that plastic skirt and pulls?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've had light breezes. I mean, look what Jen just experienced with ATSD. I had to have our friend, and I'm sure future guest Mike Black, come to my apartment and teach me how to pose the ATSDs. The Black Series ones are so detailed. They're knocked off their axis so easily. So I think Odle, whether he flings that coin or pokes with that cleaver, he bends an ankle and grabs on the cape like you're proposing, and she's down. She's down.
Yeah. And the cape doesn't move, right? Because it's the hard plastic, which could protect her, but also could knock her down, and then she's stuck. Yeah,
true. But now she does have, he may have a swivel mouth. She has a swivel lightsaber. Now, she's got a swivel lightsaber, can bend the hilt anyway, can take the blades out. Does that hilt give her any advantage, Ken?
If she's knocked down, she could swivel that saber and use it almost as a walking stick, like a Gandalf cane, to get up and kind of like get back up fast. Here's the one thing: I'm built like Hermi Odle. You don't move fast when you're built like this. All right, it's slow. There's a lot of back pain. He just came from the acupuncturist trying to heal some back pain, so she's going to have all the time in the world to prop herself back up with that fully extended double blade.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I don't know why this whole battle is about clamping, but I also think that she's got an advantage with that hilt because his tongue is just lolling out there. She has all of the dexterity she needs with all that ball jointing everywhere that she could bend down there because she is much taller, and she could take that hilted lightsaber, double edge, and just clamp down onto Hermi Odle's tongue and pull.
She's going to crab the tongue.
She's going to crab the tongue with the bendy lightsaber.
I think if we were to do this in stop motion, Rey would look fantastic, right? She'd look so articulated, hitting him or whatever with a lightsaber. But I want to know more about this swivel mouth. And if it's anything like the Tauntaun action figure, the belly, the one where you can stick Luke inside the belly. It's almost like a trap door. Right. And let me tell you, my daughter's gotten some action figures stuck up in there. So if Hermi's mouth is like a trap door, right? Rey could get stuck in there. Her lightsaber, lights out. That's it.
Saber. Yeah. Right. So both of you own it, but you haven't pulled it out of package yet, right?
Oh no, that package is too beautiful. I can't. I can't. I need to get to Hermi Odle before I can put it in.
Yeah. Jen makes a great point. If it's snap, Rey's got a problem. But if it's like slow and you have to move it back up, then he might have. But I think Jen's right. Okay. Snap.
Do you think Darkseid Rey? She is Black Series. She's 6 inch. She does have a height advantage. What do you think would happen? She's got that great soft goods cape that I think can probably billow out a little bit. What do you think would happen if she just walked up to Hermi Odle and bent over him, just encased him in darkness? Just he can't see anything. She's just laying her entire body and her cape over him.
Like
Hermi Odle's here, right? And she's big enough to just go burp.
Like paper defeats rock. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Oh, you have Darkseid Rey. I'm sorry. I have Hermi Odle. I lose.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Are you compelled by that, Ken?
Yeah, I really am, because I've seen it. Frodo he has a cape that can kind of I know Harry Potter's got a cape. So a lot of magic to it. But I think Hermi Odle. I'm not saying Hermi's a simple creature. I don't want to judge Hermi by the looks of those off kilter eyes and tongue, but I think he would be who turned off the lights? Who turned off the lights? And he'd be confused just enough for her to maybe get some sort of advantage.
Can you put Hermi Odle back up?
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about him, the slab of beef tongue lolling out there, the off-kilter eyes, the off-kilter nose. But Hermi's flesh looks exactly like when I used to melt like low quality cheese in the microwave.
Oh.
Is that going to help him in any way, Jen?
Oh, God, just no. If we're going back to the Rey, maybe she'd have to jump on his back, maybe, and throw it over, right?
Yep.
I just think even if he moves slowly or he's bumbling around, he's just so big, he's just gonna like knock her off. He's such a large figure. They go, oh, and easily whip her off without even trying. And that's why I think this is tough. She has all the skills, all the articulation, points of articulation, but she doesn't have the heft.
Yeah.
That's the challenge.
Another, the character slicing Hermi Odle in two, but that's why we don't fight the character here. This is great. Joseph, you're so right about the size advantage, 6 to 3 3/4. But you can't tell me that bulk, which he looks like he's yelling at Kermit, Hollywood. Like that bulk is going to be to his advantage. I think, like Jen says, he can recover if Rey's got the cloak on him, on top of him. He can step up and knock her off.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So the history of the name Hermi Odle is a joke on Hear Me Yodel. Do you think now the action figure doesn't come with a Comtech chip, but how do you feel like the action figure should be able to yodel? This is a weird battle we're having, so sometimes we have to like push out and define the parameters of what the figures can and can't do. Jennifer, do you think Hermi Odle can yodel?
Of course. It's like I don't know. I think it would be totally the opposite of how he looks, how the character looks.
Is that a Huttese yodel?
It's a what? Huttese
yodel?
I don't know.
Do you think that helps him in any way, Ken?
It helps him in the sense that Dark Rey would start laughing.
Right.
The figure would start laughing. All the ball joints in the neck would move because she'd be like, what are you doing? Not making fun of his skills or any traditions behind it, but just what are you doing? That's not a weapon, but it might be a weapon in that distraction.
Yeah. You guys are making some really compelling arguments. Any other features of either character that you want to highlight before we take our vote?
I want to highlight Hermi Odle's very stylish boots. I know that might be the shape of his feet, but those are some Beetle boots from back in the day. He's got some fashion. Don't overlook him on the fashion. Good color scheme, gray over black. We got the goth side here, all goth all day with Dark Rey. But I think Hermi's got some fashion that maybe Rey would appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a battle of the belts too, because Darkseid Rey, if you look at Darkseid Rey again, like she's got that fashionable, nice belt, looks great. Hermi Odle, he's got a rope. He's got a rope for a belt, right?
Oh my gosh, and, he's very bohemian. He's got a bohemian vibe going on. I like it.
Yeah, wow. No, it is a very specific style, and it is all Hermi Odle's. All right, Jennifer, I want to start with you on this battle. Hermi Odle has really been making point after point as we discuss this. We know Darkseid Rey to be powerful. She's tall. She's got all the ball joints anyone could ever want. Who wins?
I'm surprised because I really thought Darkseid Rey was going to take it, just looking at the figures from the coolness factor. But in the end, Hermi Odle wins my vote. Just sheer size. I think her articulation points are what's going to bring her down.
What should be a strength actually ends up being a weakness. A great story of the dark side. Even with all that power, all that anger, all those ball joints, you can't get what you want. Ken, how about you? Where do you go?
To take it to the basics, like we said, paper defeats rock is something I was told as a kid. I never believed it. I just never really bought into that. I think Rey comes out swinging early, but that swivel mouth, the bulk, the size, 3 3/4 be damned. Hermi Odle's got some ballast. He's got some weight behind him, and I think Hermi in a tight fight comes out on top.
Yeah, this is a very difficult one. I think at the beginning of the fight, it's Darkseid Rey. She's got all those joints. She can move much faster. Hermi Odle is not trucking. He looks like he's exhausted to begin with his tongue lolling out. So I think he's making big, heavy swings with that force pike. He's yodeling, he's panting. Darkseid Rey is just zipping back and forth, wearing him down. The thing that I think ultimately makes the biggest difference is greed. This is, even though it's an action figure, it's Darkside Ray. And Darkside Ray will give into greed. And Hermi Odle has a coin. So I think Hermi Odle uses money ultimately to pay Darkside Ray to go away. That's how I think it ultimately ends. And I think Hermi Odle is indeed the victor.
Clean sweep.
Clean sweep. Our victor, Hermi Odle fireworks.
Thanks,
that was. Let me hear your Hermi Odle impression again, Ken.
Thanks, guys. I'm often overlooked, but thanks for believing in me.
Oh no!
Oh, I was afraid that I would have a bad Hermi Odle bias, but all three of us had a Hermi Odle bias. As much as we love Ray, as much as we love that action figure, it had to go to Hermi Odle. But we don't want it to be all about violence. So, Ken, I'm going to start with you. What do you think the moral of this episode of Figure Fights might be? What have we learned?
We have learned that you should maybe watch your level of greed, watch what you're looking for. And sometimes if the lights are turned out on you and your situation, you can still find your way forward.
Wow.
You can yodel your way to hope. Jennifer, what do you feel is the moral of this episode of Figure Fights?
The dark side is no match to a swivel mouth.
Well, I'll be getting Darkside Ray later today, and that on a t-shirt. This has been Figure Fights. Feel free to let us know which character you think would win and why, with what accessory, in the comments. It's a low-stakes imaginary battle, so have fun with it. Because, as Luke Skywalker once said, well, no one was really listening to him. I care. That's it for Figure Fights.
Thanks for watching ForceCenter. To follow us on Twitter, reach out at ForceCenter Pod. We're on Hive Social at ForceCenter. On Instagram, we are at ForceCenter Pod. Our Facebook page is ForceCenter Podcast. The podcast is available in a lot of different spots like Acast, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Just search, you'll find us. Want ForceCenter merch? Go to tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter. Want to support us directly? You can at patreon.com/ForceCenter. For social links for the hosts and guests of ForceCenter, check the links in the description below. That's it for now. We'll see you next time here on ForceCenter.